Hey everybody, it's Grant, and today we have a...
Hey, we have a special guest today.
Graham.
What's up, guys?
Back on the channel, and hey, I'm glad that we were in this office. It is very nice.
Thank you. It was your idea to pull the couch out, put the lights in the back. We got a new set here, so thank you.
Hey, just saying, collabing. So today's video is going to be about how you get your first real estate property, and we have the master himself, the person that has taught very many people. I mean, I would even say millions at this point, if not more. That's a big deal.
Hundreds. We could call it hundreds.
But
sure.
when you broke Dave Ramsey's subscribe count, that was a big deal. Like
that
was huge.
Yeah.
So today we're gonna be talking about how to get your first real estate property, and I'm telling you, I don't think you'll be able to get a better example than what we're gonna do today.
Thank you.
So the first question I have for you is, what would be the first step for somebody to get into getting their first real estate property?
I would say the biggest thing would be the down payment in the very beginning. Speak with a lender ahead of time. Like, go to one of the banks and just talk to people there and find out ahead of time what you'll need to qualify for a house. They'll look through your income and they'll tell you, based on your income and the purchase price, you're gonna need 5%, 10%, 15, 20%. But at least once you know how much you need, you could save from there.
For sure. And I tell you, you can start real estate with 3 to 5%, but Graham and I both, because I am always invested in Graham's videos, and that's actually how we met. But Graham also believes, and I do too, that 20% is always the smarter route.
That's what I do.
Yeah, same. And so we both use 20%. We understand that that's hard, but if you save up, you can be recession proof, which just means somebody's not going to go in and buy your beautiful down payment, your beautiful property for pennies on the dollar because you lost it. So we just don't want that to happen.
The second thing, though, that I would recommend is having a good credit score. That's been a big thing for me that I didn't realize, that ideally you want to have above a 750 to get the best rate. As soon as you go below about 720, 710, then they start charging you higher interest. It costs you more money, which means you could buy less house with that. So I think building a good credit score is super important, as with the down payment.
And for sure, like, another thing about that, interest rates right now. I mean, you're getting more house just because of the interest rates being that low. So for someone with good credit, this is why everybody's taking that plunge. And then for somebody that has moderate credit, you want to get it up there so you don't have to sit there and waste your money without, having the best score.
Yeah.
And then also another cool tip is overdraft protection. You can actually go to a bank and get overdraft protection, which is kind of like a credit line. So check with your lenders to see if that's a thing. That's actually how I started with my credit. Didn't even know it, and by the time it was all said and done, I had a 730. So Graham, you talked about talking to a lender. Is there any other tips that you have for everybody?
Yeah, they're gonna wanna see 2 years of tax return. So usually what I've done ahead of time is, before I file my tax return, I give a draft to a lender and they review it. And they tell me if maybe I'm being a little bit too ambitious with my write-offs and I might have to show more income to be able to qualify for the loan I want. So I've been doing that in the very beginning of just, here's a tax return. Is this enough to qualify for the home I wanna buy? If yes, maybe I could be a little bit more with my tax write-offs, or maybe a little bit less, but I kind of structure it based on what I need to show to qualify.
For sure. And then anybody that's actually in the sales field. So I come from sales, you come from real estate. And even though a salesperson from like a car lot normally is a W-2, a lot of car dealers are doing 1099s as well. But for instance, a store like the one that I work at, you need 2 years of those tax returns to be able to use your actual commissions. If not, they'll use your base rate. So keep that in mind as well for everybody that's on W-2 but still sells commissions out there.
Then, once you've done that, the next thing, now is the fun part, is where you start looking at properties. So what I would recommend you do is I think they're still doing open houses now, right?
Yep.
I don't know anymore. But if you can go to open houses, I would highly recommend it. What I would do is every Sunday, I would see every single house that's newly listed on the market in the area I'm looking for. Just go and meet different agents, go and see properties. And within a few months of doing that, you're gonna have a good idea of what homes are selling for and what they're worth and what they're not worth and what's good and bad and good neighborhoods and bad neighborhoods. The more you see, the better.
And it never hurts to talk to somebody if you're looking at a multi-complex. It's always good to ask the tenants how things are, and you'll learn a lot that way as well. So the next thing, would you say determining cash flow of that property and how much and if, because if is a big word, that it's actually going to work out for them?
Yeah, you got to be really careful with your numbers, because I would say something like 95, 98% of properties out there are horrible for an investment. I think they're fine if you want to move in them and live in them for a while, but for making money, they're not necessarily the best. So I recommend be very careful with your numbers. Consider everything that can go wrong will probably go wrong. And what I do to check my rents is I like Craigslist. So I'll go on Craigslist and I'll just see what other people are asking for similar units of the place that I'm looking at. And if similar units are renting for, let's say, more than what I'm expecting, it's a good sign. If they're renting for less and they're sitting on the market and there's a lot of them, got to be a little bit more careful. But I would say you got to triple check your numbers on everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, because the last thing you want is a property that's going to pay for itself. You need to have a little room to make it worth it. Because eventually, if you have a property that's just paying for itself, which is not bad, that's great, but you'll get resentful. You'll get a little resentment with that property because you're just sitting there having to pay for it. And when it goes unrented, that becomes a huge problem.
Mm-hmm. But then once I find a property that I really like, ideally it's a place that just needs cosmetic renovations. I like places that ideally you can kind of like fix up and be done with in about a month. Maybe 2 months at the very most, but I hate going in and like moving around walls or rearranging floor plans or like building an addition. I like it ideally where it's like paint, kitchen remodel, bathroom remodel, landscape, maybe a few other odds and ends. That's it. Just surface level stuff ideally is the one that people notice. It tends to be the fastest, and you can do it on a budget.
For sure. And so his duplex, the one that you lived in and rented the other side, and then also I had the $6,500 renovation that you've seen on the channel, and all we did was we went in and painted the paneling, and the place was completely transformed. Kitchen paneling, and then night and day difference, which became rentable like that versus something that no one wanted to live in. So yeah, definitely always cosmetic fixes. So what would be the next thing? From your videos in the past, making offers is what I would say. So what are your thoughts on the next one? Making offers?
Have fun with it. Lowball them. You got to lowball them. Yes. Maybe not in this market. Maybe this market it's a lot harder to do that successfully, but you got to be competitive. And so what I do, in this market, what I would do is you got to remove contingencies. So you got to be 100% sure you got your loan. You could remove the appraisal contingency. Maybe you remove the loan contingency. Do your inspections ahead of time. So sometimes what I've done is if you're competing with multiple offers, do your inspections ahead of time, then write your offer with no contingencies. Makes it a lot easier for the seller to want to accept it versus another offer where they have an inspection contingency. So the better the terms you can come up with, usually the more you can save on the price.
For sure. And now Graham is talking about advanced things. So if you know the market value, definitely do that because that's a huge way. When I bought the most recent shopping center, I didn't come with contingencies, and apparently I was up against some large, just a big real estate purchasing firm, and they had to talk with partners. They had to do all these other things, and they had a contingency to sell another property. But because I wasn't the best offer. I was probably like a middle offer, and they took the deal, and so I bought that recent shopping center that exact way. So it's amazing how that works. And so as you said, the last way that you would think would be the best is to check the property thoroughly. So like the roof, the foundation, just make sure that you're getting a only cosmetic fix. I know it sounds simple, but the littlest thing can cost you a lot of money. What would be the next thing you would think?
Check on escrow costs to negotiate everything.
For sure.
You would be shocked. Anything that you think you can't negotiate, usually you can. Everything is up for negotiation. There's a few things, maybe like title insurance, they're not going to be as, or appraisal fees, you're not really going to negotiate that. But almost everything else, even the escrow fees, you can negotiate those. You could ask for a little bit less. Almost every single time they'll be like, all right, we're not going to charge you $2 per thousand. Well, we'll go down to $1.50. So everything is negotiable if you just ask.
For sure. And that's another thing. Finding a local lender that knows your name versus a number that you're related to, that's another way to do it because they know Graham's going to buy another property and they need to treat him right to get him back versus using someone like Chase or someone bigger. They have policies and procedures that they have to go through. So finding a local lender or credit union that would work, they'll also work with you.
Yep.
I think that's
very true.
Awesome advice.
Yeah.
So what would be the next thing you think?
I would say renovations. You definitely got to get a good team on that. I recommend getting 3, maybe 4 bids from different contractors. Chances are, don't pick the most expensive. Don't pick the cheapest one either. Try to pick someone in the middle who's just honest because my experience has always been the people who quote you the cheapest, there's always stuff that they're forgetting in there. It ends up being more expensive than the most expensive person. So just find someone who's honest, who shows up on time, and who gives you a realistic quote, who's very thorough. And even for that person, you still have to show up and like make sure they're doing the job as they should. and just even showing up on the job site kind of gets them, all right, they're here. They got to work faster. But yeah, I'd say you have to be on top of these people to make sure it gets done as you want, because even the best people will fall behind because right now they're so busy.
For sure. Yeah, you got to inspect what you expect. If not, I mean, even when I do renovations, I go in there and I'm like, I forgot about this. You know, the most recent one, we changed countertops. And I think I've changed countertops 4 or 5 times in my entire life. And there was just a line of the previous, you know, paneling color. And the painter came back and touched it up. But if he wouldn't have made me charge me more, that would have sucked. That had been another $200-300 for just a little knowledge. So yeah, for sure. So I would say the next part of this would be the most fun. And so that would be, of course, renting it out. So
yeah, that could be challenging too, to find a good tenant. You really have to thoroughly vet everybody. Lately, I've hired a management company to help with renting, which has been so nice not to have to deal with it. But when I was doing it myself, I was sifting through so many people. What I did is I basically had really good photos taken of the rental property. And most rentals have terrible photos. You get good photos of it, price it 10% below what it's worth. And you'll get so many applicants who want to move it immediately, and will take it for a long term, so you don't have to worry about re-renting it out in the future. So even though you might take a 10% hit now, it's going to pay off in the future. Like year 2 is where you start making all your money back when they haven't moved out, and you get a good tenant in there. But I'd say thoroughly vet everybody. Make sure they make the appropriate amount of income to pay for the rent comfortably, and they have a good credit score, ideally. You like them, and I think that is very important.
And as far as income, you always say three times. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So solid advice. And the funniest thing is, me and Kayla actually rented one out today. So
congratulations.
We're back to 100% rented, which is nice.
Nice.
Because
it's gotta be a good feeling.
It is, especially here on the channel. We showed my worst tenant ever, which was like a hoarder, and it was just stuff everywhere. We had the movie 300, you know, where they had the wall and they pushed it over. That's how big this person's. It was so bad.
Wow. Okay.
So bad. But yeah, so for sure. And the new renter is amazing. Paid up front, and he makes like $8,000 a month. So
there we go. Done. And then you're good at this part. What would you recommend afterwards?
I would say as soon as you're comfortable and as soon as you know that you can do this, which everybody in this whole channel, you can do it. Me and Graham both believe in you. Scale up and take it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, make a goal for yourself. Scale up, you know, one a year.
One a week.
Maybe after the first 5 or 6, then we could do one a week. But for sure, scale up, and then, you know, real estate's limitless. You know,
we got to get you to 100,000. That's going to be the next goal.
For sure.
Got to get you a silver play button.
So, I'm telling you, I'm gonna. I think I've said this on the channel. I'm not sure, but I'd hold the silver play button like a Grammy at the thing. Like, so thank you so much. You know, it's so much work. And once again, thank you so much for being on the channel. His work ethic, the fact that 5 videos a week, the thought process, everything that 8 videos a week. The new channel. Yeah. And then the podcast. Duh. And you know, and I say I'm a
8
fan.
8 videos a week.
But all of the thought process, everything that Graham does is towards his viewers. Everything he thinks about, the way you live, you try to make sure that everything you do resembles
the algorithm.
For sure.
Everything's the algorithm.
Everything's the algorithm, the almighty algorithm. So please power up that like button for the almighty algorithm, and then also please hit that subscribe button and notification bell. We post every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we do some really cool stuff. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're
Always
welcome.
Yeah, and then you know what a great collab we just had today. Comment anything you liked out of this collab, as well as anything you'd like to see in future videos, especially with Graham here on the channel.
Thanks.
And hope you guys have a fantastic afternoon. Remember, I 100% believe in you. I know you can do anything you set your mind to, and never let anyone tell you any differently. Have a fantastic afternoon, and we will see you on the next one.
See ya.